TPOT had double eliminations from the beginning. Hello, and welcome to my third BFDI What If, and the first one dealing with TPOT. Here, I'm going to show how I think TPOT would have gone, as of TPOT 10, if there had been double eliminations from the beginning. The premise is very simple. The episodes before the double elimination structure was introduced will also have the double elimination structure later episodes had. Also, as you can hear, I'm now actually doing voiceover for these, so you're not just sitting in silence the entire video. This surprisingly changes quite a bit, so let's get into it. TPOT 1. First of all, the original debut wouldn't change at all, so winner and price tag both still debut, and the teams are the same. And the order in which everybody is sent to the hotel stays the same as well, meaning the two losing teams are Death Pact again and the strongest team on Earth. Death Pact again will be up first, because at the time that Just Not finished, the final team safe, the strongest team on Earth had more people at the top. If somebody disappears, that means they're safe. Without further ado, safe are Black Hole, Remote, Tree, Lightning, and Fanny. The bottom two are Marker and Pi. Neither of them were all that important in the episode, and never really did anything in pre-split to make them very notable. But, as we all know, this is the canonical bottom two, meaning the final one safe is Marker. This wasn't going to change in the slightest, let's be honest. Now it's time for the strongest team on Earth. Safe are Grassy, Bell, Robot Flower, Basketball, and Snowball. Now, before I get into the bottom two here, I would just like to point out the main reason why Snowball is so low here is that I feel like the main reason he got so much popularity is because of the fact that he was being nicer, trying to be nicer to people in TPOT 2. Here, he didn't really do that. So, and the reason Belle is so high is, one, she also was very high in TPOT 2, but also, she got 3 of their members up to the roof. Herself, Grassy, and Robot Flower, who would be the only members up there when Just Not finished. So that means Belle would obviously have a lot more support this episode. Anyways, the bottom two are Eggy and Fulty. Meh. These two are just wildly unpopular, so it's no surprise that they're the bottom two. But considering how this went in canon the following episode, the final one safe is Eggy. Fulty falls an episode early. To be fair, I don't think many people are going to miss her. TPOT 2. Now, as everybody knows, this is the episode where Teardrop debuted onto her own team. Folding not being here doesn't really change anything, so the bottom two teams would stay the same. Those being Are You Okay? And the strongest team on Earth, becoming the first team to lose twice in a row. As the strongest team on Earth have the smaller stack. I'm having trouble speaking today. They'll be up first. Safe are Grassy, Snowball, Bell, and Basketball. And that's because Basketball did actually originally have more votes than Robot Flower did. The bottom two are Eggy and Robot Flower. Eggy is once again here for being seen as useless, but she did have a sweet moment with Teardrop this episode, so that may help her. Between Robot Flower and Basketball was slightly more focused on this episode than Robot Flower, so people would vote her more. Oh, right, yeah. Basketball didn't have more votes, but the votes were close enough that they could switch, realistically. That being said, the last one safe here is obvious. That being Robot Flower. Eggy falls significantly earlier than in the actual show. Apoy will not be happy about this one. Now it's time for Are You OK's elimination. Safe are Pen, Golf Ball, Tennis Ball, Eraser, and Puffball. The bottom two are Fries and TV. Neither of them were all that important this episode. All Fries did was ask about the new song and get angry at Black Hole for stacking up their blocks, while TV just showed Golf Ball really bad ideas for stacking their blocks. Overall, this one just comes down to who of the two is more popular, who, at the time, was easily Fries. There's a reason every single TPOT prediction had TV getting out first on Are You Okay? At least before TPOT 5. TPOT 3. Now it's time for the Amusement Park Challenge, and the first episode to actually feature two teams losing. Yeah, nothing changes here. Teammates in the S still lose. Teammates still goes first, as their restaurant was destroyed. Safe are Pin, Coiny, Barf Bag, Gatey, and Needle. The bottom two are Donut and Saw. There are two major reasons each of them is down here: their voice and lack of screen time. Also, Donut was seen as rude for a very long time, and Saw just didn't really do anything. But as this is the Cannon Bottom 2, we all know how this goes. The last one safe is Donut. Saw has been cut from the competition. Now it's time for the S to lose a member. Safe are Yellowface, Winner, Rocky, Clock, and Bottle. The bottom two are Cloudy and Ice Cube. Both are down here for a lack of screen time in the previous episode, as well as Ice Cube constantly reusing lines. However, she's also an original contestant, so that does give her a bit of an advantage. Also, something I forgot to write there, a lot of people, for some reason, get really annoyed with Cloudy's accent. But, once again, this is the Cannon Bottom 2, meaning the last one safe is Ice Cube. Cloudy falls again, and honestly, it makes me really sad. TPOT 4. Oh boy. Yet another episode where literally nothing changes. Yeah. Eggy and TV not being here is completely unimportant to the episode. The losing teams are still Death Packet again and Just Not. Just Not is first, as their funny plant died first. Safe are Pillow, Price Tag, Bommy, Nickel, and Cake. The bottom two are Book and Naily. The major reason for both of them being here is simple: a very distinct lack of screen time, even in Just Not's very short time frame of actually being on screen. But as this is the Cannon Bottom 2, the last one safe is Book. It really sucks, because Naily didn't even screw up this time, and she isn't a screw. I don't know why I wrote that there. Now it's time for Death Pact against Elimination. Safe are Marker, Black Hole, Tree, and Lightning. The bottom two are Fanny and Remote. Both of them had extremely limited screen time during the episode, and that's really the only reason they're even here. Lightning managed to escape the bottom two because of sympathy votes. But, once again, this is the Cannon Bottom 2, meaning the last one safe is Fanny. Remote has been switched off. TPOT 5. I forgot to show you who was there. Oops. Now we come to the plate contest, which is the first episode to actually have some major changes. First of all, without TV being here, he can't sabotage the strongest team on Earth, so they actually have a chance to get a plate. The S would still get a plate first, so they'll be safe. This is still followed by Death Pact again, and Just Not. Now, this point is where TD originally gets a plate and is safe. However, I think something else would happen. The strongest team on Earth would manage to grab her plate, and would swim up to the surface, being granted safety. Teardrop would then follow Eraser and steal his plate, barely making it to the surface and getting safety. This means the losing teams are You OK? And Teammates. Teammates will be up first, as when Teardrop finished, Teammates was still 2,762 miles away from the contest grounds. Safe are Coiny, Pin, Gatey, and Needle. The bottom two are Barf Bag and Donut. Neither are particularly popular, and even with their limited fan base, the two still have to split votes. Donut was also in the bottom two before, which hurts his chances. They both are also kind of stupid this episode, what with being just really dumb with what they wanted to get from the store, so that also could screw them over. Anyways, the final person safe is Barf Bag. Donut has fallen very early on. Now, it's OK's turn. Safe are Pen, Golf Ball, Puffball, and Eraser. The bottom two are Fries and Tennis Ball. It was around this time people started hating on Tennis Ball for always siding with Golf Ball on everything. Other than that, though, neither of them really had a lot of screen time this episode. Also, Fries was in the bottom two in this universe once before. But, as we know, this is the canon bottom two. Meaning, the last one safe is Tennis Ball. We lost both dad-like characters with somewhat raspy voices in one episode. Wow. TPOT 6. Now it's time for the dinner challenge. Most teams have the same strategy as they did before. However, REOK's strategy actually does change. Because TV isn't there, they can't find the Dreamberry, meaning they have to resort to something different. As the timer nears its end, Golf Ball grabs the only remaining food-adjacent contestant that isn't cake, Barf Bag, and kills her as their dish. This means every team gets the same score except for REOK, who gets a 0 out of 10 for not only serving to Vomit, but also trying to convince him to eat Barf Bag. This means the losing teams are REOK and the S, the two teams with vomit-based dishes. REOK will go first, as they had a 0 compared to the S's 1. Safe R, Tennis Ball, Eraser, and Puffball. The bottom two are Golf Ball and Pen. Pen really didn't have any screen time this episode originally, and would probably get even less as the episode would focus on Golf Ball, Puffball, and Tennis Ball primarily. He also has to split votes with Eraser, but he is pretty popular nonetheless. Golf Ball made the decision to kill Barf Bag and also had been very rude to Puffball in the past. However, one major change this episode is that she wouldn't have apologized to Puffball, as her helping really wouldn't have done anything. She also has to split votes with Tennis Ball and is also decently popular, however. Anyways, the final one safe is Pen. This really goes to show how save votes can just change in one episode. Now it's time for the S. Safe R, Yellowface, Rocky, Ice Cube, and Winner. The bottom two are Bottle and Clock. Both had very little screen time this episode, as is the case with most bottom twos. Bottle's very outgoing and bouncy personality could get annoying to some people, while Clock's obsession with Winner pissed a lot of people off. Anyways, as this is the canon bottom two, the last one safe is Bottle. Clock's time is up. TPOT 7. Now, it's time for the landmark challenge. In order for the challenge to actually happen, I'm going to say that Lightning still gets angry about the fact that the team nearly lost last time due to trying to prevent death, and was only safe because REOK served literal vomit. This would cause him to destroy everything, and everybody now has to fix stuff. Teammates would also take significantly longer to finish, but would ultimately just use the wires that they got from Just Not to tie the beam together, in Donut's absence. Everything else would play out the exact same, except for Tennis Ball making the plan to destroy Just Not's roller coaster instead of Golf Ball, who is obviously no longer present. Therefore, the losing teams would be Just Not and the S. As Just Not's landmark was more broken, they'll be up first. Safe are Pillow, Price Tag, Nickel, and Book. The bottom two are Mommy and Cake. Realistically, they're down here because, as always, they barely had any screen time this episode. It's a very common theme in TPOT. But as this is the canon bottom two, as we all know, the final one safe is Bombing. Cake is out here once again. Now it's the S's turn to lose a member. Safe are Winner, Yellowface, and Bottle. The bottom two are Ice Cube and Rocky. Neither of them talk much and weren't even all that important this episode. However, this was the episode where Ice Cube got her leg stolen, so she got a good number of sympathy votes. Once again, however, this is the canon bottom two, so the final one safe is Ice Cube. Honestly, I think the majority of the community was very happy about this elimination. TPOT 8. TPOT 8. Now it's time for Balance Beam 2, Electric Boogaloo. Before that, though, as Donut isn't here, Yellowface would steal somebody else's arms, and I decided on Coiny. As, he's on the same team, he has arms, and Pin's already suffered enough. And let's face it, he's also round, so sort of similar. Anyways, if somebody disappears here, that means they're out of the challenge. First of all, every flying contestant is disqualified, as well as Tree, who's still stuck in the canal. Needle would still accidentally knock Katie off, as Golf Ball isn't here, the next people out are the victims of Robot Flower's rampage. In this case, just being Basketball and Pillow. Tennis Ball would still use Pen to knock off Coiny. Yellowface throws Ice Cube at Bell still, knocking both of them off. This is followed by Marker jumping off to help Tree, much to the annoyance and anger of both Fanny and Lightning. Grassy then knocks off Bottle. Snowball knocks off Barf Bag with Teardrop barely jumping out, and Grassy knocks off Robot Flower to stop her rampaging. Pin then uses Fanny to knock off Winner and throwing off Fanny's body, with her mouth remaining on the beam. Also, the red glow on Fanny means part of her is still on the beam. following this, Needle then knocks off Bommy, Book, and Pin. After this, Yellowface knocks off Needle during their battle, meaning Teammates is the first team up for elimination. He also knocks off Nickel shortly afterwards. After this, Pen and Tennis Ball gang up on Snowball, ultimately knocking all three of them off. And finally, after the dramatic scene between Eraser and Teardrop, she pushes him off the beam, eliminating Are You OK? Now that the challenge is over, everybody can come back for the reveal of the losing teams. Those two teams are You OK? And Teammates, just in a different order. Teammates will go first, as Needle fell off before Eraser. Safe are Gady, Pin, and Coiny. Now, the reason I have Coiny safe here instead of being at the bottom like he was originally is he got his arm stolen, so he would get a lot of the sympathy votes that Donut got. The only reason he's not at the top of the list is because, unlike Donut, he got knocked off super early, so therefore didn't have as much screen time as he should have. Anyways, the bottom two are Barfbag and Needle. Overall, other than knocking a bunch of people off of the beam and being pseudo-possessed by Teardrop, these two didn't do much this episode. Anyways, due to the way this episode played out, the final one safe is Needle. And the reason for that is because, she was the last one on the beam, so obviously she's going to be getting a lot more votes for making it so far in the challenge. Well, it may feel surprising. Barfbag is actually out here. Now it's Are You OK's turn. Safe R, Tennis Ball, and Eraser. The bottom two are Pen and Puffball. Puffball had next to no screen time in the episode, while Pen is just here by happenstance mainly. Yeah, it's really obvious who the last one safe is, that being Pen. Puffball just got screwed over by a massive lack of screen time. TPOT 9. It's zombie time, everybody. Once again, if somebody disappears, that means they either died or were zombified. Just as a disclaimer, the only thing that changes with Death Fact again is that Lightning reluctantly helps Black Hole with the whole collection thing, so that Tree doesn't die. Because while he does care more about winning than preventing death, Tree staying alive is imperative to winning. So he would help him as he can fly. To start, Barfbag is still the first zombie, as she would be zombified before Kick at Stake, as would Pen. So both of them are already zombies. During Kick at Stake, Puffball and all of the debuters would still get zombified. However, as Barfbag was eliminated, Needle would try to open the door, as she was the closest to elimination. This means Barfbag would bite her instead. And while you may be saying, oh, but didn't teammates go first? I feel like she would still ultimately open it up, considering that Puffball doesn't have arms, and also ultimately is zombified. So, Realistically, let's face it, that makes the most sense. Then the massacre starts, with 2 announcing the challenge and getting zombified immediately after. Except it's not as much of a massacre, because the next zombification isn't for a while, but eventually Snowball does get bitten by Rubber Spatula following his death. Following that, Pillow kills both Nickel and Book in the steakhouse. And while TV isn't here to help Eraser and TD, while TV isn't here to help get Eraser and TD into the vent, TD still has a powerful enough jump to get in there and help Eraser up. However, Eraser still gets bitten by Pen. While that's happening, Gady finds 2 and is sent to Pie's room in the Elimination City. Also, if somebody gets that red glow, it means that they were sent to the Elimination City by 2, but didn't die and get zombified. After a bit, Ice Cube gets sacrificed by her team and is in turn zombified. Then, in the sewers, Income Tax Return Document would manage to kill Coiny somehow. Look, he's a zombie, he has superhuman strength, or I guess super object strength. Taggy sees all of that happen and tries to back away, but runs into Pillow. They knock her unconscious, but then as they're telling Bommy that Pillow is dead, Pillow isn't dead and kills them. At around the same time, Tennis Ball is experimenting on Barf Bag when Teardrop falls into her and unzombifies her. The whole sacrifice conversation happens and Teardrop dies to save everybody. But sadly, before Tennis Ball can distribute the cure 2 teleports him to the elimination place. The cure gets to the S, who wonders how they can get more stakes to cure the zombies. When this happens, while they're discussing this, Bommy ends up blowing himself up to kill Pillow, killing himself in the process, blowing the flaming steakhouse to the S. Snowball's body then puts it out, and the rest of the episode progresses as normal. This means everybody comes back, and the challenge is over. First of all, Teardrop, being the only member of her team, is eliminated, as all of her team died. This means Teardrop is disbanded. But one more team does still need to lose, so that means the other team with no members, just not, is up for elimination this episode. So, let's see who gets out here. So far, Bommy, Price Tag, and Pillow. The bottom 2 are Book and Nickel. While everybody except for Bommy was really close in votes, the major reason these 2 are down here is that out of all of Just Not, they died first, so they really didn't have much screen time. And as we know, this is the canon bottom 2, meaning the last one safe is Book. Poor old Nickel got out way too early, both in the challenge and overall. TPOT 10. Now it's dream time. The only change to this episode is that Teammates' dream would instead be Pins, about not having Coiny by her side. That's the only change in the dreams, I should say. there are some other changes. Are you okay? The S and Death Fact again still finish in the same order that they did originally, but where this episode changes is at the final 3 teams. Before I get into that, though, I would like to mention that Lightning also makes up with Black Hole along with Fanny during his dream. Anyways, here it would actually take a while for Gady, Needle, and Pin to find Coiny, as he would be nowhere to be found because the whole dream is about Pin losing Coiny. Because of that, Just Not would manage to finish just before them, with Robot Flower instead just breaking after falling off the hotel. Meaning the losing teams this time are Teammates and the strongest team on Earth. And that's where I'm going to leave off for this episode, as we don't know the voting results for TPOT 11 just yet. That's where I'll leave off for this What If, not this episode. I mean, it'll be a series for this, but you know what I mean. As we don't know the voting results for TPOT 11 just yet, so I'll update this every 5 episodes, meaning part 2 will be coming out sometime after TPOT 15. I'll see you then. Also, if you thought I did something wrong in this video, or if you have a suggestion for a What If, leave it down in the comments. Also, tell me what you think of the voiceover, because I messed up a lot during the voiceover, so do you want me to kind of refine this, or do you like it more like my natural voice? Please let me know. Anyways, I'll see y'all later.